Ayurveda Part 7, Synchronize with the Rhythms of Nature. So today I'm going to start by discussing what are the primary rhythms of nature. There are 5 of them. And how does aligning with the rhythms of nature affect your health, sleep, and productivity? And then we'll talk about different ways that you can align with the rhythms of nature and get the most out of your life by being in sync with nature. And then I'll share a few simple methods in alignment with those beautiful rhythms of nature to help you create a happier life. And then I'll share a quiz at the end so you can discover your dosha and begin customizing your lifestyle choices right away. So knowing your dosha is really important in Ayurveda because then you know how to customize your lifestyle medicine. And that is the point of this. So let's go ahead and first start with setting intentions. So let's spend a few moments getting clear on our intentions for today. So remember that all intentions are valid. Therefore, in a moment when I ask you to reflect on your intentions, just simply listen to yourself and honor whatever arises. So go ahead and close your eyes and take a few deep breaths and place your attention in the area of your heart. And listen to your response to these questions. What drew you specifically to this class about Ayurveda? What drew you to this class today? Good. And what do you hope to gain from these teachings of Ayurveda? What do you hope to gain from this class today? Good. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And I'd love to hear from you. So please share in the comment section what came up for you as far as your intentions for attending this class today. Or just hold it in your heart and see if these practices of Ayurveda can answer your intentions. All right, beauties. So let's go ahead and start our class today. So throughout this 9-part Ayurveda series, we have been exploring many practices for cultivating health and emotional well-being. And I started with what the heck is Ayurveda, with a definition of Ayurveda, and then what the heck are Mahabhutas, which are the 5 great elements. And then next I shared about the doshas in what the heck are doshas, discussing the characteristics of the 3 doshas. And then we began balancing the doshas. Once we had an understanding about the doshas, we started with nutrition and the 6 tastes, and then mental and emotional health, and then self-care and the 5 senses. And now in the 7th class, we'll be learning how to create Ayurvedic daily routines that weaves those healing practices into daily lives. It's a practical aspect of bringing all the classes together. You'll find the Ayurveda series in a few different places if you want to watch the whole series. So if you're in the Facebook group, follow the guides section and it'll take you to the series. If you're on the Phoenix Wellbeing page on Facebook, the videos are all listed in the feed of the page. Or see the Ayurveda playlist on YouTube, and I'll post a link in the comment section now for that. The YouTube playlist is the best way to see the Ayurveda series, so check that out, and it's also in the description of the YouTube video. So those are a few places to see the whole series, and we're going to go ahead and get started with today's class with an overview. The topics in this class include the rhythms of nature. We're going to talk about the dosha clock, the characteristics of each dosha time period, and then a few Ayurvedic routines that are suggested to stay in balance. And then at the end, we'll do a grounding exercise. So I'm excited about that. Also, as we integrate these Ayurvedic practices mentioned throughout the series into our lives, really just be kind to yourself and let go of any idea that you need to do everything perfectly or all at once. So just taking consistent small steps will help you create an Ayurvedic lifestyle that will strengthen your health and happiness. So be easy on yourself, really enjoy the practices, and take small steps as you go and allow your Ayurvedic practice to grow just incrementally over time. All right, beauties. So what are the rhythms of nature? Let's discuss the 5 main rhythms of nature, starting with the circadian rhythms. So the circadian rhythms are the 24-hour cycle of night and day, and it follows the cycle of the sun. The lunar rhythms are the 29-day monthly cycle of the moon around the earth. Tidal rhythms are the gravitational influence of the moon on the water. Seasonal rhythms, the 12-month cycle of the earth around the sun. And celestial rhythms, which are the rhythms of planetary movement. So these are the 5 rhythms that we'll talk about today. We are one with universal rhythms of nature. And although our senses, they lead us to perceive that we are separate from the world around us, we are constantly exchanging energy and information with the environment. So when our internal rhythms are in sync with those of the environment, we experience well-being. And life moves in reoccurring cycles of rest and activity. So every cell, every organ and system in our body mind operates according to the predictable rhythms, with periods of dynamic activity and times of quietness. So these same patterns of rest and activity are found within the cycles of nature. So we mirror those cycles of nature, our cells, organs, and our body. So for example, the sun rises, shines bright, and sets. The seasons flow one into another, and the tides rise and fall in response to the moon's influence. And in the same way, the fires of our digestion, they rise and fall within our body-mind system. So our hormones fluctuate according to a 24-hour rhythm, and our moods, mental agility, and motor skill cycles, they are also very predictable during the day with highs and lows. So even the years of our lifespan move through seasons. The spring reflects our youth, the summer our adulthood, and autumn is the season of our elder years. So we show up physically with those rhythms within our body and have a mirror on the outside of the rhythms in nature. So it's important to align and connect with those rhythms around us. In our modern society, many of us are unaware of the natural rhythms of our body and are really guided instead by habit and convenience. And we tend to ignore our internal signals and rely on external signals. So the result is often compromised health, fatigue, and the accumulation of toxicity in our body mind. So how do you reconnect with the rhythms of nature, and how do you sync up your body with the natural rhythms around us? So let's talk about how to synchronize with the rhythms of nature with some simple practices. The primary rhythms govern distinct patterns within the human body. So throughout the remainder of today's class, we'll be exploring the effects that these rhythms have on us and how can we adjust our routines to be in harmony with those rhythms. So the benefits of tuning into nature is, most of you know, very profound. So adopting a regular daily routine helps us to be in sync with our environment, creating greater energy and happiness and well-being. And as we discuss suggestions for balanced lifestyle in tune with the rhythms of nature, just identify a few that you would like to begin weaving into your life. You don't have to incorporate them all at once. Just when I'm discussing them, just notice which ones stand out to you. I'd like to do that. And then weave that one or two in, but don't feel overwhelmed by having to do them all at once. So from an Ayurvedic perspective, the rhythms of nature are governed by the doshas. So let's start with circadian rhythms. So during the daily circadian or solar rhythms, we experience two 12-hour cycles from sunrise to sunset, and again from sunset to sunrise. So each cycle has a kapha phase, a pitta phase, and a vata phase. So the approximate times are as follows. So the first cycle is 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., which is kapha time. 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. is pitta time, and 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. is vata time. And the second cycle, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., is kapha time. 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. is pitta time, and 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. is vata time. So we're really meant to live in tune with the master cycles of the dosha clock rather than fighting against it. Here are a few Ayurveda recommendations for a daily routine that take into consideration the circadian rhythms or the sun daily rhythms or this dosha clock. So we rise with the sun. We start our day with meditation and some warm lemon or lime water to get our digestive fires going. We have a breakfast. And then we continue with morning daily activities and work. And it's suggested in Ayurveda that we eat our largest meal of the day between noon and 1 or 2, when the pitta principle is strongest and our digestive fire or agni is most powerful. So biggest meal in the middle of the day. Then we perform daily activities and work after lunch. And then we spend after 2 p.m., when vata principles are highest, to move our body. So it's a good time for exercise. And then another thing that you can do during vata time is any activity that's about creativity, because vata is about movement and about creativity, so creative energy. It carries more light creative energy. So great time to do exercise and creative activities in that vata time from 2 to 6. And at 6, when the heavy relaxed kapha principles kick in, that's when you start to wind down your day. It's a good time to eat dinner at 6 p.m. and then start to wind down your day. And then when kapha period ends at 10 p.m., it's a good time to go to sleep, lights out, and ready for bed. That's when the pitta and vata times kick in during the nighttime. And that's when we start to rejuvenate ourselves during our sleep cycles. So really important to get good sleep between 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. And then we start again at sunrise at 6 a.m. And that's sort of the general daily routine for an Ayurvedic practice and in alignment with the Ayurvedic clock and in alignment with the sun. Another way to align with the rhythms of nature is to consider seasonal rhythms. So again, seasonal rhythms are the 12 to 13-month annual cycles that you intuitively respond to by bundling up in the winter and cooling down in the summer. So just like the daily Ayurvedic clock, the seasons are influenced by the 3 doshas. So each season expresses specific doshic characteristics. So kapha is the cool, wet cycle early in the year. So that would be sort of spring, late winter, and early spring. And the next cycle is the hot, moist pitta season, which is all summer, and then followed by the dry and windy weather of vata, which is fall. So you can take special care to balance those doshas during those seasonal times. And I have a class that I shared discussing how to stay balanced through vata season, and I will post those links in the comment section, or you can find them in the description of the video. It's called 7 Ways to Stay Blissful During Vata Season. So it's a great class. It has wonderful tips on staying warm in the fall. And there are other beautiful ways to stay in balance during other seasonal changes. So just stay attentive to that when seasons change and what you need to do within your body to accommodate seasonal changes and doshic changes. And lunar rhythms, many traditional cultures actually create entire calendars based on cycles of the moon rather than only yearly cycles of Earth and Sun. The Vedic lunar calendar is a very popular calendar with a lot of the monasteries and a lot of the ashrams. So it's something that you can look up as far as Vedic lunar calendars. Studies really show that lunar rhythms can influence us on a great level. It regulates our hormones. It creates subtle changes in the body fluids and blood chemistry. It changes perception of various colors and many other changes, mood and emotional changes. It's an incredible cycle to keep track of. So you can find a lunar calendar and you can notice what your experiences are during different lunar phases, like the full moon or the new moon. And just take note on what comes up for you during these times and create a routine or self-care method that can help you transition through lunar changes gracefully, happily, and in good health. And then you can keep track of recurring cycles. You have your lunar calendar and you know when the full moon's coming or you know when the new moon's coming. And then you can return to your self-care routine when those times come around and take care of yourself in a beautiful way to move through those cycles. And tidal rhythms govern ocean tides. So based on gravitational effects of the moon on the Earth, scientists can predict the high and low tides with precision. And there are many effects on the Earth depending on where the moon is located and the waters of the Earth. There are tidal calendars that you can look at to tell what cycle the tidal rhythms are in throughout the year. When we know about the rhythms of the tide, we can estimate what will happen at different times, and you can work with the ocean to time your interactions. And once you know about the rhythms, we can cater our experience with outside and inside experience and adjust our interactions and play accordingly. So the doshas move in harmony with these tides as well. And the levels of your doshas also rise and fall in a really unbelievable synchronicity with tidal changes. So you can use a tidal calendar to track how the tidal rhythms affect you. And celestial rhythms, they allow us to honor and acknowledge how we are connected to everything in the universe and how all the universe affects us and our natural cycles. So celestial rhythms are cycles of planetary movement. Astrology is based in celestial rhythms, which is founded in the movements and positions of celestial bodies. So celestial rhythms are the basis of astrology. And particularly, I'm discussing Vedic astrology or Jyotish. Vedic astrology is astrology aligned with Ayurveda and the Vedas, opposed to Western astrology. So Vedic astrology tends to be more precise. And astrology, again, looks at the movement of the planets and other celestial bodies in the solar system and how they affect us. And in Ayurveda, the science of Jyotish or Vedic astrology describes how planetary patterns impact humans and all living beings. And usually it's at the time of an event, such as a birth, and Vedic astrology can give valuable clues to understanding your life's journey. And so ancient Vedic tradition believes these cosmic influences of the universe can help you evaluate your talents, your gifts and abilities, as well as your challenges in order to change habitual patterns and to awaken to your essential self. So it's a beautiful roadmap that the Vedas have offered, and it is very useful to move through pitfalls and find your way through this roadmap of your life. So studying Vedic astrology or Jyotish or simply having a reading could be very helpful in understanding yourself and how to stay in balance during celestial changes. So again, take note of what comes up for you during astrological cycles. create a routine or self-care method that can help you transition through lunar celestial rhythms so you can kind of go through these changes gracefully and in good health. And then, again, keep track of those reoccurring cycles and return to your self-care routines when those times return. So for example, if you notice that when Mercury is in retrograde, you feel particularly affected, create a self-care routine when Mercury is close to Earth. Mercury retrograde is when Mercury is passing Earth, so it's in its closest proximity. So when Mercury is close to Earth, find those self-care routines, track when Mercury comes back around, and implement those practices when it's close to Earth again. So those are some tips on how to put these rhythms into practice. So Ayurveda really provides an optimal daily, monthly, and annual routine that helps us live in tune with nature so that we can experience our natural state of health and well-being. So really have fun with creating your routines to optimize your health and well-being, and put some of those Ayurvedic suggestions into practice in your daily life and really have a lot of fun with it. All right, beauties. So now we are going to practice just a general exercise that can help you get into balance with nature wherever you are. Regardless of what cycle we're in, this practice can help you get in alignment with nature at any time. So I want to finish up with sharing this simple technique that will help you connect with nature, and you can practice a grounding exercise anytime you feel out of alignment with yourself or the rhythms. So what is grounding or earthing? So grounding or earthing is a therapeutic technique based on earthing science and grounding physics to explain how the Earth's electrical charge can have a substantial healing benefit on the physical body. So research has evidence that direct contact with Earth's negative electrical charge actually influences the electric charge of your body's cells. So this in turn positively impacts your overall state of health. So the earth has the power to heal because it's like a battery. So you want to plug into the power of the earth and get charged up. It really gives us the negative charge, which helps to reduce the free radicals and create less inflammation in the body. So many diseases are related to inflammation. So when you reduce free radicals and reduce inflammation, you have an easier time to be in a healthy state. And it helps you feel grounded and connected. And it helps us align with those natural rhythms of nature again. It gives us that sort of leg up to be more in harmony with nature. And having that connection with the earth is really important on a regular basis. So here are 3 ways to practice a grounding exercise. So you could sit, stand, or walk on a natural surface. So look around your environment for areas of grass or sand, soil, or even mud that you can connect to. So any natural surface, so surfaces like wood, asphalt, and vinyl are not conductive. So those aren't good surfaces. You want to stick with grass, sand, soil, mud, or anything that is of the earth, mountain, rocks, things like this. So sit, stand, or walk on natural surfaces. You can go barefooted. If the weather allows, try spending a half an hour with your toes in the grass, or see how it impacts your mood and stress levels. And you may even notice a reduction of physical pain when you're connecting with earth and the magnetic aspect of earth. So half an hour with toes in the grass, see how that impacts your mood and stress levels. And then get dirty, do some gardening, plant a few flowers, some herbs, pick up gardening as a hobby. Let the sense of touch heal your body, really feel that earth and get in there and dig around in some earth and really feel that experience of touching and playing with earth. All right, beauties. So those are 3 examples that you can use to start a grounding exercise. And which grounding activity stood out to you? Which one do you feel like you can practice easily, really simply put into practice either today or make a commitment to do it tomorrow? What grounding activity can you practice today? Just take a few seconds to think about that. And if you can do that today, go ahead and do it today once this class is over. Or if it's nighttime, make a commitment to yourself to do it tomorrow and give yourself that gift of recharging with the energy of the earth and get back in alignment with the rhythms of nature by just connecting with the earth and feeling that electromagnetic energy. All right, beauties. So that is a simple exercise that you can do. Now we're going to shift gears and focus on a dosha quiz. And that determines your mind-body characteristics and the essential nature that you were born with. So again, Ayurveda has an individual and catered approach of life and lifestyle medicine for each person by taking into consideration what your body-mind constitution is or what your dosha is. So I'm adding a link to a dosha quiz in the comment section that you can take to find out what your dosha is. And I'll add that link now or find it in the description of the video on YouTube. And when answering the questions, think in terms of which statements have been true for you for most of your life. So if you developed an illness in childhood or as an adult, think of how things were for you before that illness, specifically with mental traits and behavioral traits. Since they tend to be more subjective, you should answer according to how you felt and acted most of your life. So knowing your dosha really gives you insight on what you can focus on to personalize your healthy lifestyle choices through the 6 pillars of health, which are nutrition, movement, sleep, meditation, healthy emotions, and self-care. And through this series, we're focusing on each one of those pillars. So knowing your dosha can really help in customizing your daily health routines. So go ahead and take the dosha quiz. We'll focus more on balancing your specific dosha and the 6 pillars of health in the next 2 weeks. Next weekend, learn about meditation and pranayama and what conscious breathing and meditation are best for your dosha. So that's the 8th class in this Ayurveda series, Ayurveda Part 8, Meditation and Pranayama. But for now, go ahead and take the quiz. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments section. I would love to hear from you, and we'll get your questions and happy to answer them whenever I get them. Beauties, thank yourself for giving yourself the gift of Ayurveda, and I thank you for joining me today. Namaste.